Hi Aquarius, my sun sign brothers and sisters, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. Check out all three so that you know which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. With that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves ya, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. So your key this week is the Moon card. Okay, so there's a very reflective vibe about the Moon, right? This card actually represents the past in a lot of ways, and when you think about the past, what is the past but a memory, right? Yes, it happened, but it's no longer happening. When you think about the Moon, it doesn't have its own light, it reflects light. So the Moon card in general is a very reflective energy, and so this week you might find yourself reflecting on days gone by, thinking back over things that have already happened, things that have passed, all of that kind of stuff. It's almost like there's a part of you that's sort of looking backward. Now, the other thing with the Moon card, it can represent where our rose-tinted glasses are either being pulled off or where they need to come off. So let's have a look. Right, in your actions and options this week, you've got the Eight of Wands. This is a communications card. Now, obviously Mercury is retrograde at this moment in time, so you do need to think about communication, how you're communicating, because this is the Eight of Wands is like a lot of communication. It's very fast, very dynamic, lots of back and forth, emails, text messages, phone calls, you know. And this with the Moon card, there is a possibility this week to get your wires crossed. So you just want to be making sure that you are checking in with yourself and not getting lost in the source. In terms of your actions, what you're doing, you are initiating a lot of conversation. And then you've got this with, in terms of the options that are available to you, well, this is a chance for you to either become a teacher or a mentor, or for you to connect with or reconnect with, because the Moon card is the past, a mentor, somebody that you look up to that you really feel is able to help or support you in some way. Now, for your communications and conversations, you've got the Two of Pentacles. So this week you're really starting to understand what the level of give and take is in your connections, especially when it comes to work, profession, studies, career, all of that stuff. And the Two of Pentacles is really seeing you paying attention to what the true value of the connections that you have are when it comes to your professional life. Now you've got this with the Eight of Wands as well, and you know, when I see these two, it almost makes me think like this week, through a lot of the conversations that you have, you're going to start to put a lot of your connections in their rightful place. Now, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, there's possibly a conversation about some kind of funding and or grant, because this week I think a lot of you are going to realize that there's something else that you want to study that maybe extends the time that you find yourself in education. It's like, okay, that's all well and good, but where am I finding the money from, right? What's the funding source? So I think you'll be having a lot of conversations around this. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this is actually, even with the Moon card, especially if you've got not an idea, this is actually a really good week to have the conversation about a pay rise or a promotion, especially if it's a conversation that you've already had with a boss or a superior and they said, oh, you know, give it 6 months and we'll review. If that 6 months has passed and you are still confident that you deserve a pay rise and a promotion, this is a week where you can go after it, because it's like you can actually say, well, you know, you said we would review in 6 months. It's been 6 months and now you need to uphold your end of the bargain, right? So providing you're willing to negotiate and bargain hard, this could actually be a very good week where you get what it is that you know, what is desired effectively. Now, for those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, this week you really need to think about what you're investing into your business, what you need in order to take the business further. This is about you really thinking about where you need to invest resources, money, finances practical time elements, etc., into your business in order to get the goods, right? So there's an important conversation that will happen this week, but I will say be careful, because there's a chance that you could misconstrue or misunderstand something, and you don't want to go off half-cocked on, in a direction only to realize that you misheard what the person said. I'm all for serendipity and stuff, but I'm also not for stupidity. Now, for those of you that are retired and no longer working for any reason, this is you balancing the books, right? Maybe you're looking at things and saying, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to manage to do this retirement thing, and so maybe I have to find something part-time, or I need to restructure. I do wonder as well how many of you will choose to downsize this year. For your love and relations, you have your card, the star card. So when it comes to relationship, you show up for and as yourself in a really powerful way. It's kind of like you meet somebody this week, if you're single, online, on an app or a dating site or whatever, and you're kind of like so nonchalant about the whole thing, because it's like, you know what, this is me. You're either going to love it or you're going to loathe it, and to be honest with you, I really don't care which it is at this point. It's almost like you're just entertaining it for the sake of entertaining it, but really you could forge some really great connections, maybe like a friendship of some sort. So that could be really cool. Now, when it comes to those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is you seeing the longevity or the future of the relationship through a very different lens, right? You're starting to understand what sort of conversations you and your partner need to have about the resources, and also you're starting to get much clearer on what it is that you bring to the table of your relationship, and whether that is or isn't being reciprocated. Reciprocation in relationships seems to be very much the theme of this week for you guys. And then for your money and materials, you've got the Four of Cups, right? So the Four of Cups is usually where I say to my clients and people, you got to snap out of your funk, right? So this week you need to look at what the emotional challenge and or resistance is to the money that you would like to make, right? This is about really getting very clear on what is internally standing in the way of what you want when it comes to your resources. It's also possible that some of you could be spending on something this week that is like a cause or an item or something like that is very close to your heart. And then for those, when it comes to your physical health and vitality, this card is about your stomach. So it's like paying attention to what you're eating, really paying attention to what liquids you are consuming, especially because you have the moon card here, and really paying attention to where there is excess moisture, either in your body or in general around you, and how that can wreak havoc. And then finally, when it comes to your home and environment, this is, I think it's kind of like a feeling of like a little too much contentment in the home. That's kind of how I feel. Like now that I've got the house, I'm just like, fuck the world. It will still be there tomorrow. Not in a bad way, but it's like for the first time. I mean, for those of you that have been with me for, from the beginning, like 2016 was when I said like, I want to buy my own home. And I set myself a target of 10 years and I managed to do it in 8. And this is the first time the first time since 2013 actually, because since 2013 I have moved 12 times, right? So in that time, like now that I'm sort of settled, I'm just like, yeah, anything that wrecks that or tries to override that, I'm not interested in it. So it's kind of like, no, this is where I am, I don't care. So yeah, just watch out for that, because you can get a little bit too comfortable, a little bit too insular. All right, if you want to book your personal session with me, you can do so on the link in the description box below. Before we go, I would like to wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up, and I'll see you soon.